Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Deadfire with me, Dawn. Before I speak to Prince Aruhi again, I do want to grab Takehu, since he wanted to speak to the prince. And before we do that, I'm going to get the training from the Shield Bearer of St. Elka.
Greetings. Well?
Can you teach me what you've learned as a member of the Shield Bearers?
Well, you would need to become a shield bearer yourself to really learn it all. But I suppose I can teach you a thing or two as we stand here. The privilege will run you 3,000 copper, however.
Okay, give 3,000 copper, enhance survival and athletics. Here you are.
My thanks.
He nods. He lays 2 heavy sandbags on your shoulders and runs you through a series of drills designed to increase your strength and agility while dressed in full plate mail. Confident you've learned enough to continue training on your own, he gives you a hearty clap on the shoulder and wishes you well on your journey. Alright, we got Granis' training. +1 to athletics and survival. It's really good for my current build.
At once.
Oh, also, he has the wrong focus active.
I am ready. Tell me.
Also need to fill this out. Okay, happy with that.
Of course.
Pallegina, how is it nothing about what the gods are up to seems to faze you?
When you think the worst of them, the worst they can do comes as little surprise.
Don't you at least want to hear what Aethys has to say?
Only a fool would trust what he had to say. Whatever he said would be just another lie.
I'm not saying it wouldn't, just looking for... I don't know.
Alright, to the Wild Mare. We'll swap out for Takehu. Get rid of Maya for a little bit. Also get a price check on how much it's going to cost to respec Pallegina.
Permission to speak freely?
Now, what can I do for you? You see anything you like?
$12.50 isn't too bad. We're a little strapped for cash right now.
As you say, Captain.
While we're here...
If you want for company, look no.
Not a bad bit of tackle, Cap. Nah. You see anything you like? I'll be shoving off then, Cap.
Alright, happy with that. Then you grab some more equipment for Pallegina. That's right, she can't wear a helmet. I'll keep the dexterity for now. Alright, at least she has a little something going on for her.
You see anything you...
Perhaps it's better.
And just real quick, give him some of this stuff back. Never gave him boots. Let's go level up Seraphim real quick since he's in our party. Sleight of hand and metaphysics. I'll grab Ringleader here. It creates an insidious and powerful compulsion to obey the cipher across all enemies in the area of effect, dominating the target and charming all others.
Now, you see anything?
Farewell and farewell.
Okay, back to the palace.
Do not leave me in suspense, I say. Have you found Matario Cozy?
Aruhi raises his brow and gestures for you to speak. I had questions about Matario Cozy.
Ask. Whatever I know is for you.
No further questions.
Just so. Do not leave me in suspense, I say. Have you found Matario Cozy?
I had other questions.
If you have questions, the royal brother will hear you.
Aruhi smiles and opens his palm. I have questions about you and the Huana.
Ikera. Both topics I know well.
Aruhi smiles and inclines his head. I want to know more about Ukaizo.
My sister would say that Ukaizo is the birth canal of the tribes, and we are destined to return and discover ourselves again. Ask Onekaza if you would know more. She is the family historian. I am the family arsenal.
How does the caste system work in Nekataka?
It is the same in the city as anywhere in the Deadfire. Mataru judge our souls at birth and organize us for the survival of the tribe.
Aruhi pauses and frowns to himself.
I am not the first to say it, but Nekataka has more walls than beaches, more roads than clearings, and more people than fish. Nowhere in the city does a Raparu sit around the same fire as a Mataru. Nekataka tests our traditions, I say.
Don't you see that as a contradiction?
What man or woman of the Isles does not?
Aruhi chuckles and shakes his head.
Our ancestors built this place. We are the hermit crab who occupies a fallen shell. It is for my sister and her priest to judge the fit.
Aruhi shrugs, squinting up at the court's high ceiling.
It is the same. I am not. Nowhere in the city does a Raparu sit around the same fire as a Mataru. Nekataka tests our traditions, I say.
You speak like the city is aware.
You speak as if it is not.
Aruhi raises his brow.
Our ancestors. It is for my sister and her priest to judge the fit.
You and Onekaza represent the Kahanga tribe.
Akira, as the largest and most prosperous of the Deadfire tribes, the Kahanga have some authority to speak for the others. I say Onekaza and I are large stones in a tide pool, standing tall as the water rises to our necks.
You don't seem to think much of the trading companies.
My sister has mastered the diplomat's tongue, and I am foolish to give her frustrations a loud voice.
He sheepishly scratches the back of his head.
But Ikera, I pray every day that Ngati tests the outsiders against her tallest waves and longest serpents.
What do you think of your sister's rule?
We agree on much, I say. The prosperity of the Huana, our burden to appease the gods.
Aruhi clears his throat and cranes his neck to tell if anyone is eavesdropping.
In the trading companies, Onekaza sees Wodeka testing us, weighing who deserves the Isles. I see Ngate sending krakens of gold and iron against our ship, but arming us with a single harpoon.
Farewell. Okay, we finished exploring the palace. I swore that Takei wanted to speak to the prince. The raucous screeching of the birds in their cages is endless. The wanted depiction of Helia is almost menacing in its intensity. And a Tepu. The sun-scarred Juana glances up from the rumpled sheet of parchment in his hands and regards you with unease.
A Tepu, drawer of maps. I have nothing to sell unless you are needing something else.
He clears his throat and rolls up the parchment with a quick spin of his palms. You're the cartographer who discovered Motari Okozi, correct?
What I discovered remains to be seen.
A cautious smile spreads across his lips.
The Sanctuary Isles were thought to be lost beneath the waves. If I stumbled upon one, I can think of worse finds to credit my name.
Tell me about the Sanctuary Isles.
Our ancestors marked off specific islands across Deadfire as rallying points in case a great misfortune split up the tribes. Even they could not have guessed how important the Isles would become. Some thousands of years ago, volcanoes, storms, and quakes shook the archipelago. Any one of those do happen, but never with such ferocity or all at once. The Juana survived by taking shelter on the Sanctuary Isles to save our society, and not just any one tribe. Since those days, we have not found any of the old Sanctuary Isles. Ngati took some beneath the waves, taking whole tribes with her. Others were lost to time and forgetfulness. I am told that the Wahaki are protective toward the Isles, but that is their business.
Tepu shrugs. How did you make this discovery?
I was surveying the waters around an atoll when a storm dragged my ship off course. The waters were unknown to me. When a green fleck appeared in my spyglass, I unfurled my sail. The shore twisted around itself, confusing even this old navigator until I found myself at the center. I did not make it far up the beach before I spotted signs of habitation. Marking my coordinates and orienting myself by the evening sky, I made for Neketaka to tell the crown of my findings.
You mentioned that entire tribes were lost.
Understand, the Deadfire was broken. The lives lost could not be counted. And more has been forgotten than may ever be remembered. Imagine how much history we lost in a single year, much less the millennia that followed. Whatever our people hoped for themselves, we may never know if we got it right or wrong.
If I was venturing to this island, what might I find?
Death.
Tepu stares away, his face losing its color, till he catches your expression.
I did not mean to frighten you. These islands have known great tragedy, and millennia have passed in cheerless silence. Should you land on a sanctuary isle, do not expect to find welcome.
Back to my other questions.
If we must.
He patiently gestures for you to continue. You must have seen much on your travels. Ever found a sign of Ukaizo? Just hearing the word caused him to perk up at attention, though his lips pressed together at a slant.
There is not a Juana in all of the Deadfire who does not take to the open water hoping to catch a glimpse of the lost Ukaizo.
He sighs.
If I could walk the beaches of our ancestors, take a fleeting glimpse of what they left behind, mine would be a life well lived.
What would you hope to find on Ukaizo?
The same thing we all hope for. Answers to the long silence that precedes our history. Who we were could tell us who we are. But if I am being selfish, maps, charts. Our ancestors were keen explorers, and a roll of their parchment could teach us more than what we have gathered in the last century.
I had more questions about Motari Okozi and the other Sanctuary Isles.
I will not deny curiosity. Go on then.
The side of his mouth twitches. Farewell.
On it.
Though simple in construction, the sink is clean and tidy. Someone has finished off a quick meal here.
Will do.
While Aruihi's collection is impressive, few of the blades are actually sharp. Whatever creature these jaws belong to was clearly massive.
Yes, of course.
Nice and quiet.
Right beside it. Alright, Storm Speaker's warning. My prince, I've warned Kamalka against calling rain over the outsider forts, but still she delights in rusting their weapons and muddying their soil, which tells me that someone must have put her up to this trickery. Someone she trusts. She admires you, my prince, but I say that she is a storm you cannot control. Onekaza will not thank you for prodding the eel's den. You have given enough faith to Trickster Ngati. Now take Amira's example, and await the hatching of the egg. The turbulent skies speak of change and upheaval. I say let them come, but save your strength for the day the skies open. I've recommended that Kamalka seek you out. There's a place for her in the fleet if you find yourself in need of Amira's sharpened beak. For the Isles, Stormspeaker Baudo. Or Beudo. I think that the...
Aye.
All right.
I want to do pronunciate every vowel in their names.
Aye. Yes?
Alright, don't think we can loot that table.
You songwriters
Karate
need a
pays
guild
coin
if
to
you
feed
hope
the
to
great
learn
eel.
discipline.
Not so. We speak in the tongue of Ngati and Amira. Your pretty dances may upset the puddle, but we command the wind and sky.
Hey, I have missed our little talks.
Ikera.
The quiet gurgling of the fountain is a constant backdrop in this spacious chamber. I speak to Barati.
He smells one touched by the great eel, does Barati.
A sizable Amoa tilts his head up and looks down his nose at you, flaring his nostrils with hungry interest.
You are a man who sits across a fire with death, Akira?
The pallid knight and I are on familiar terms. He nods, clasping his hands with quiet delight.
For glutting mighty Tangaloa and hurling foes into their next life, Barati can offer payment. Coins for feeding hungry gods. Akira?
Nod silently.
Rewarding those who appease the great eel. This is Barati's cause. May the beasts of the dreaming lands never know famine.
Barati inclines his head and touches his brow, holding the pose with deep reverence. What bounties do you have available?
Tangaloa rolls a hungry eye toward Dichila, a Valian captain who scouts for luminous Adra in sacred lands.
Barati squeezes his knuckles until they're bone white. I'll take the bounty.
Akira, Tangaloa knew it would be so. Dichila sails her voyager Alicio around the waters south of Nikitaka. The great eel hungers for her soul.
Barati touches his brow and inclines his head. Before I go, I had some questions.
Ask, but do not keep the great eel waiting.
I'm still hunting Tachilla.
Continue the hunt, good feeder. Tangaloa knows you are devoted to the great meal to come.
Barati inclines his head.
Return when the kill is complete, no sooner.
Farewell.
I've got it. I can be quiet if you can.
The pages lie strewn between the books hold a strange arrangement of letters, not all in the Hwana alphabet.
Subtle indeed. It is done.
Sorry, friend. I can't.
Okay, up to the rooftop. Click, click, click.
I've got it.
Motes of light dart through the winding streams of water like schools of fish. So, is Takehu responsible for both of these? The one up here and the one down in the palace proper? Or just this one?
Will do.
Beyond the city gates lie vast stretches of farmland, interrupted here and there by encroaching jungle. Missed the sea.
You make a habit of turning up uninvited.
The queen has affected a far more relaxed posture. A pair of tigers lounge indolently beside her seat.
Kahopa, Tangaloa, welcome our guest.
She nods down to the cats. They fix you with a ten of stares that cause many of the courtiers and attendants to gasp.
Watch out. When these things lick, well, I hope for your sake you're not ticklish.
You travel with a brave crew, Watcher.
Onekaza smiles up at Adair. Good Kahopa. Good Tangaloa.
Nothing to fear, I say. If a queen cannot wrangle two cats, what right has she to the Deadfire?
She drags a hand over both of their massive heads. They lean into the gesture.
There are many leagues between here and Hasongo. I trust you have packed for the journey?
She raises a quizzical brow. I need directions. Which way to Hasongo?
Sail west from Nekataka's harbor. I would tell you to watch for a lighthouse, but Hasongo's Adra has gone dark. Take care that your ship does not run aground.
Don't worry. We've done it once, I don't plan on doing it twice.
There. You have it from a queen. Safe travels, Watcher.
Okay, we're not done talking.
What say, burglar? Thanks to you, I must negotiate with Arkemir for more security.
Onekaza grins and shakes her head. Keep interesting pets, Highness.
Fine beasts, are they not? Gifts from the Wapua, a tribe of proud animal trainers. I named them Kahopa and Tangaloa, which makes the priests very unhappy.
She grins to herself. Yeah, I was wondering how people would react to that. I wasn't sure how heavily revered the gods were.
Aruihi thinks I should feed my enemies to them alive and screaming. Ikira, I have given it thought.
She pats Tangaloa on her head. Not content to let the attention go astray, Hopa shifts over until his ears are under the queen's fingers. I mean, kind of literally. She's been in my head since we met. You've been in my head since we first met.
Ah, Akira. But listen how the Watcher flatters me.
Onekaza chuckles to herself and shares a smile with the attendants in earshot. And her gaze swivels back to you. A presence like a storm cloud settles over your thoughts.
I cannot plant a seed in untilled soil. Akira, I want for there to be trust between us.
She raises her eyebrows to make sure you're paying attention.
The trading companies send spies to every corner of the mountain. I say there are places they cannot go.
Masked beneath a casual gesture of scratching her cheek, Onekaza taps the side of her head. Yeah, say nothing.
But you did not climb all the way up the mountain to pay compliments, I say.
You feel a light tug as the mental connection breaks. For now. Onekaza settles back in her chair and nods to you, her eyes straying to her attendants only briefly. Why do you put up with the trading companies?
Because we are the shrub in the shadow of an old growth.
Onekaza looks away and sighs through her nose.
Even the gods may protest, but this city blooms from the wealth of foreigners. Aruihi would have me force them back to their ships. I say it is better to feed my allies under a single roof.
Tell me about Nekataka.
Nekataka is older than our memory. We found the great city in ruins, and the Kahanga have spent generations replacing every cracked stone.
Who built Nekataka?
The Huana, of course. The mark of our ancestors runs deep. Walls and districts are not how we would build a city today, but this place has echoes of the past. And our future, I say, if we can but reach to grasp it.
This is a Huana city, but the trading companies are both represented here. Onekaza considers your reflection, nodding.
The Valians were very forthright in their desire to carve out a permanent outpost, I say. When cannon shot echoed across the seas, the Crown opened negotiations with Rawatai's armada, a healthier alternative to war. My brother thinks I am too lenient with our visitors. I say I will accept even this uneasy balance.
Back to my other questions.
First, a question of my own.
Onekaza steeples her fingers and observes you closely.
This city is not how the tribes would live. Walls stand between neighbors, and the beach is too far to walk comfortably. There are angles of this city I cannot see from my garden. What place has Nekataka in the great pattern of the Deadfire?
Yeah, option 3. I've seen what lies at the bottom. It isn't pretty, Highness.
Bottoms seldom are, I say.
Do we still speak of the city? I have lost track.
Kehu winks. Onekaza only rolls her eyes.
Akira, my thanks for your perspective. I say you give me much to consider.
So maybe I'm misreading this, but it does seem Onekaza and Aruihi, such a hard time pronouncing that, both seem to have some sort of sympathy towards the Riparu, but they're stuck in the traditional caste system. So I was even able to convince Prince Aruhi to leave the Riparu and the Principe alone. Something to consider. I wish to discuss the Huana.
We are the stewards of the Deadfire. Our ancestors made this pact with the goddess Nagati long before Ukaizo, before the island vanished.
She closes her eyes and bows her head. How long have the Huana been here?
How long does coral grow?
Onekaza chuckles to herself.
It is said the tribes assembled when Kohopa took his first mouthful of Amira's hatchling, and we will be here until the sea rises above our heads.
You mentioned a pact with the Ngati.
The one which taught us to shape water.
A light, youthful smile overtakes her.
It is said that Nagati bound her 4 guardians to protect the islands, the Adra, the seas, and the tribes. In return, she gifted them the forms of water shaping. For so long as our promise is kept, the goddess gives us dominion over water.
Onekaza touches her brow with reverence.
Did I do your mother justice, Takehu?
Akira, Somewhere in the abyss, she blinks her enormous eyes with approval, I say.
Okay, back to my other questions.
Speak on. A friend of the crown should be well informed, I say.
Farewell. Yeah, I keep trying to pronounce Aruihi's name. I'm trying to combine the U and the I in the middle. A stray cat. Prissy. While Prissy is following you around, you're more effective with healing spells and potions, and your party members regain some health when they kill an enemy. And Girvard Calder. Find a young man with long blonde hair drawn back in a simple club. His clothes are spare, but well tailored, and his armor, a fine brigandine in blue and silver, is polished to a shine. He leans casually to one side, a clean hand on his hip, and sighs, bored. His eyes light up when he sees you.
Hello there. Come to have a word? I don't bite, I promise. Yes?
Tell me about yourself.
Gladly, my friend. Gladly. And how kind of you to ask.
He clears his throat with a theatrical wave of his hand.
I am the youngest son of a noble house. Now, don't make that face. Poor, desperate fool, you must be thinking. Well, waste not your sympathies on me. Truly, I consider it a boon rather than a punishment. All the comfort and none of the responsibility. What's not to like about that?
What are you doing in the Deadfire, then?
What else brings faraway travelers to the archipelago? Adventure. I've nursed a great love for heroic tales since my boyhood. As I was loafing about my father's estate, I thought, well, Girvard, isn't it time you made a name for yourself as well? So here I am, and though I dare say I'm little use in a fistfight, I can do a fair bit of magic and draw a lovely map, so I've taken to charting the interior wilderness of the Deadfire's larger islands.
That sounds dangerous in its own right.
Ah, but it's worth it for the stories I'll one day have to tell. But truly, if I could only inspire others as I myself have been inspired by those old tales, why, it would be marvelous. Anyway, enough of my prattling. Surely you've other things to do.
Tell me about yourself.
Gladly, my friend. I consider what else bring. So here, but anyway, enough of my prattling. Surely you've other things to do.
Can you teach me what you've learned in your adventures?
Oh, it would be my absolute pleasure. For a price, of course. 3,000 copper?
No, I don't think so.
Well, I'll be here if you change your mind.
Okay. Well, we did pick up some decent equipment in the palace, so we can always sell that and maybe have enough to purchase his services. If not, we can respec Pallegina. Alright, let's get out of the palace. Next episode, we will go and speak to the heads of the Royal Deadfire Company and the Valian Trading Company. After we sell all the stuff we picked up to see if we can afford that 3,000 gold price. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.
Deadfire's so